I am Hadowkai, and welcome to a Let's Play of Dungeon Defenders. So I'm going to be going from start to finish of the campaign. I will be doing this online, starting solo, and hopefully some people will be joining in with us. Um, Dungeon Defenders is a tower defense game, but it is also a first-person shooter. I'll show you once I get into the game itself. Character creation is
Donning his robe
fairly
and wizard hat.
simple and rudimentary. You get to select from a total of 4 different
Aetherian warrior of noble
classes.
descent, the
There's a
Prowler,
male and
hailing
female in
from the
each, and
Wood
they have a
Elves'
variation of
traditional
their
home near the great forest of
strongest attack,
Missinata.
but
The ranger
besides that,
is
they're
a
essentially the
formidable
same
warrior,
character.
unlike
Um,
his nimble
Due to 2
student
DLC
companion.
that have yet to be released, there are 2 characters that are still yet to be playable. Uh, just to give you an idea of
Donning
how
his
much
robe and wizard hat,
character
the
customization
apprentice
there is. Well, essentially, this is what you're looking at. There's color changing, and then there's outfits that you can unlock once you've completed challenges. But besides that, you
Donning his
your
robe and
characters are
wizard
what you
hat,
get.
the apprentice
But
is
I'm not
eager.
going to do that. I'm going to cheat a bit. I'm going to use a already made character. The character levels go up to 74, I believe. Um, but I'm just going to do a quick run through to show you the game, and then show you the campaign, the levels, and then essentially also being a how-to as well to show you where all the choke points are. The game starts you out in a lodge, which is where you're able to collect other people to come along and help you with quests. In the campaign, you can do a co-op of 4 people. There are challenge modes where you can get up to 8 people
Have I your friends over
to
then? Or two? Or
follow
three?
along at the same time, PvE as it were. Um, One thing to take in notice is that mana is your currency for both character item upgrade as well as item purchases, as well as in battle uh, tower defense upgrades as well. It's the main currency for everything, so it is a good idea to keep uh, collecting items and selling it. Anyways, shall we get to it? Starting from the deeper well, I'm going to be doing a medium run, and let's do it.
Aetheria was once a land of living legends. Long ago, brave warriors across the realm stood together against an immortal evil known as the Old Ones. In the wake of this struggle, the champions locked away the power of the Old Ones inside Eternia crystals. Recently, the realm's heroes, called to a faraway crusade, have left their younger kin to tend the castle and its chores. Bored with their dreary duties, and imagining action and adventure, the pupils accidentally unleash an ancient force that has long been dormant. Now these heroes in training will have to grow up quickly. Together they will defend the Eternia crystals against those who would seek to resurrect the ancient evils.
So yes, as mentioned before, Dungeon Defenders is a tower defense game, and as such, there are predetermined paths for the enemy to follow while as you put down turrets or defense structures to dissuade them from coming at you. Each phase starts off with a build phase and then a combat phase following thereafter. mana crystals are basically what gets this game going. There are at least 4 chests at the start of each build wave, and which you use to make towers. Each hero has a selection of 5 defensive structures they can build, either be turrets or walls or other types of turrets. And I got enough for 1 more turret. Alright, after which point, ready up. Right, and as I mentioned, this is more than just a tower defense game. While you do have towers and you are defending, you can also attack the monsters on your own as well, either be it third person or first person. And so on and so forth, you repeat. Items are dropped from chests and monsters alike, in a Borderlands-esque fashion, where you have different weapon models, but the stats are what are different. Appearances, aside from weapons, armors don't actually change the appearances of your characters. Joining is done on the fly. People can join your game if it is a public game. In and out, no problem. But if you haven't noticed, there are these pink circles that are basically anti-camp circles, which give the monsters a chance to get out of the gates. But the one exception of that is monsters that can do ranged attacks. Those guys are kind of boned when it comes to that situation, where they are simply just fodder as soon as they come out. Oh, also another thing to note is that soon as another character class comes into your game, more of the other character class's weapons and equipment will start showing up as well. As I mentioned earlier, that mana is a universal currency for upgrading as well as purchasing. Upgrading can be done in-game on your stuff or your ally stuff, as this is a team effort. These starting stages seem a little bit monotonous, but it does get more fast-paced and a lot more fun later on. Also, while there are build phases and combat phases, these are not limiting you to building while being in combat phases. The only difference is that your building, summoning, upgrading are slowed down just a little bit. Right, and after um, each level is completed, the limit for how much your character can carry as far as mana crystals is lifted, and all your mana collected goes directly to your mana bank, which is distributed across, or is shared across all your characters that you've created. Uh, your item inventory is also shared across all your characters. So if you're in the game, you can always pick up stuff for your other characters. So with each level, um, it does get substantially more difficult. The enemies are exponentially grow in amount as well as strength. Uh, for instance, their health points will actually double from level to level, and their numbers will also greatly increase, as well as new types of enemies get introduced as well. Oh, and right, um, little guy that's flying around my head is a pet. These guys are given after beating the campaign, as well as are purchasable from the store. Each one of them have different abilities or are simply combat uh, amplifiers, meaning they'll actually give you uh, stronger attacks or more health, and some of them will even attack themselves. Um, and while these turrets do seem pretty strong and overpowered, there is a limit to how many of them you can have, and and as the enemies do get stronger, they don't seem to be as strong as you think they would be. If you look in the upper right-hand corner under defense units, you see there's 29 out of 80 defense units used. Basically, each one of these structures takes up a certain amount of defense units, as well as cost a certain amount of mana to be created or summoned. For instance, when you look at this, if you hover over your structure, initially you see that it is 20 mana, but then in the center it pops up that it is 1 defense unit cost, as well as it shows you what exactly it does. In general, the classes are pretty well balanced. It does seem that the magician and knight classes seem to be the most powerful, as their defense structures are considerably more powerful, and do kill a lot more in the way of monsters out in a single sitting. Also, if you've noticed, mobs will generally ignore your character unless you start attacking them. However, like how the ranged characters ignore or aren't helped or supported by the spawn protection, they also do come directly after your character first before attacking defense structures or the main crystals that you are protecting from them. Oh, while we have some time here, this right here is a hero forge. This is where you can go to see your hero info, as well as your item box, which is one of the main things that you have to constantly look at in MPL. You do get 16 pages. After those pages are full, you aren't able to pick up any more items. The only exception to that rule is if you defeated a boss, and the boss items will be automatically stuffed into your inbox, your item box, that is, on top of your maximum number of items. You do have a mini-map that shows you the location of all your defense structures, as well as all your monsters that you're trying to defend. You can see the pathings that you have to protect. Yeah, this game really does rely on heavily on choke points. The widest choke points are usually 2 blocks wide, or 2 structures wide, that is. If you get a hang of covering these choke points and strategically placing your turrets and defense structures, you can get a good, strong block on the enemies and basically just not allow them anywhere near your crystals. Of course, though, there are flying creatures that will just ignore everything and fly over and directly attack the crystals themselves. Alright, also from the forge you can swap heroes that you've already created, or also you can also create a new hero. One problem with creating a new hero from this menu, though, is that you can't name your heroes, nor can you actually change their colors on this spot. However, color changing and costume changing you can do freely from the main menu. Name changing, however, costs 50,000 mana, and you can do that at the shop for the lodge. Now, every so often you'll get an ogre, which is essentially the mini boss of of Dungeon Defenders. Speaking of bosses, there are 3 bosses in the main campaign, one after every 3 levels. Or is it 4 bosses? No, 3 bosses. Right. After every 4 maps. Oh, I'm sorry. Facts aside, there are 3 bosses, and I will get to those and show you those. Right, and so those are the first 2 levels for Dungeon Defenders. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break and empty out my fraps folder so I can go ahead and record some more levels. After this uploading, I'm going to do only 1 level at a time because the levels do get much longer. And towards the end, I'm going to have to split the levels apart. So, until next time, I'm Hadowkai, and this has been Dungeon Defenders.